First of all, a very happy Women's Day. Congratulations to all of the women here in the room and those who are connected online. And now I will switch to English. I apologize to the interpreters if that's a problem.
From President Ilan Golfand, a concept of a renewed vision of the IDB group. But in particular, he did refer to a new concept of the private sector arms of the IDB group. So I'll be presenting what it means for IDB Invest, and I see my friend Irene Arias will present the same for IDB Lab. The concept that I'd like to present is a concept that we coined as Originate to Share. We usually refer to our region as a region of challenges. It's known as a region of challenge. Challenge can be social in nature, it could be climate in nature. It could be drought, it could be fires, it could be deforestation. But usually, the image of our region is a region of inequality, it's a region of devastation on a climate side. But there is a flip side of that, that is, the problems of the world can actually be solved by our region. We hold and host the lung of the world, the Amazon. We can solve the energy transition, particularly when it comes to energy transition of minerals and the change of the matrix of the energy of all our countries. And we can feed the world. As you know, and particularly with what's happening in Europe, the breadbasket of the world lies in Latin America and the Caribbean. So there's two sides of the coin, and I want to focus a lot on these opportunities because there are enormous opportunities for our region. Another big opportunity is that we're not the only ones that have seen this as a development challenge and an opportunities. There are $53 trillion in the world looking for impact investing. And what we're trying to do is bring these two, supply and demands, together. So I want to refer to this concept of how we bring development assets together with impact investors. This is the only way that we can scale, and this is a concept that we use as Originate to Share. There's a traditional concept that has always been development institutions have focused on just investing, their own balance sheet. We know that there's limited resources in the world of multilaterals. This is referred to usually as billions of dollars. The only way that we can actually scale this activity and take it to a new scale is through what we call from billions to trillions. And this can only be happen by crowding in impact investors around the world through our institutions. So I'm going to focus a bit on how we plan to do it, but this is a concept that I wanted to leave with all of you. And now let me focus a bit on the how. The biggest and most important selling reason of why we can achieve this for a region has one phrase: one IDB group. As you know, the IDB group is 3 institutions that operate as one. You've heard from Ilan Golfand, the president of the 3 institutions, and the work that the public sector arm of the IDB group will be doing to create the enabling environment, will work to finance governments to create the necessary environments for the private sector to act. You'll be hearing in a few minutes from Irene Arias the role of IDB Lab and the continuum that we have of investments from public to private, within private, to IDB Lab and to IDB Invest. So this is the biggest selling point you can always imagine, and that's why we all have a name that is associated with the concept of IDB, and we have one board of directors. A second concept I've heard from many of you clients around the world: development institutions do not take enough risk. They're not prepared to take risks, they're not geared to take risks. So the concept that we're putting on the table that will be discussed by our governors tomorrow and the day after is we need to be able to take more risk. Why? Because this institution and investors around the world today are investing in the US, tomorrow investing in Brazil, the next day they're investing in Guyana. And I think it's important that we help them de-risk those investments for them to look at and be attracted to the development challenges, but isolating the risk as much as possible. The second concept that we want to put on the table is this is not only about money. I've read a lot of documents. You probably know that money on its own doesn't have an impact. It's when you combine money with knowledge. And that's the role that we play on advisory services, when it comes to climate-related issues, when it comes to environment and social issues, when it comes to corporate governance issues. There's where our concept of understanding the market is extremely important. But not only when a deal is already closed for us, is this concept of upstream work, working with clients to prepare them for bankability, to prepare them to prepare a business plan, to prepare them to present a financial statement, and to be able to work with all of us. So there's a lot of work that we're going to be doing, not only once our deal is closed, but more importantly, to develop that business together with us, and we call that upstream work. Innovation. Don't tell anybody, but we're an unregulated financial institution. We have the benefit, we're regulated by our board and to an extent our rating agencies. But we have the ability to create products. We have around 26 products as we speak. And I wanted to highlight a few of them that I've heard from all of you that are extremely important. One, local currency financing. Traditionally, multilaterals can only lend in US dollars or even euros in some cases. To be able to lend in local currency is a game changer for all multilaterals. And part of our pitch is to be able to lend in 26 currencies across our 26 nations. Second, guarantees. We've got a AAA balance sheet. And sometimes money is important, but not only money is important, is when we can provide guarantees and risk-taking instrument. Last but not least, equity. We've got a very small bucket to be able to do equity, and part of the discussion we're going to have with our Board of Governors in the next 2 days is how we can amplify and enhance our equity. So these are some of the innovations that we're putting together to be able to actually take, and I want to use two examples. I'm going to have an example in Chile and an example in the Caribbean. An example in Chile of innovation. We worked together with the government of Chile to be able to help them stabilize their tariffs in Chile with the spike that you had on renewable in oil prices, and to stabilize, and when renewable energy would kick in, we wanted to work to be able to stabilize that. So we worked with the government, we worked with the generators to issue what we considered AB bonds. AB bonds is a structure by which, using our umbrella, we're able to issue in international markets, and we were able to issue under 144A transaction. And with that, we were able to attract $1.6 billion in business to be able to help the government of Chile stabilize the prices of energy tariffs so the end user would not be affected. Another example of this is the University of West Indies, and this is an example of upstream work and risk-taking. Many of you know the University of West Indies, one of the most prestigious universities, not only in the Caribbean, not only in Latin America, but in the world. And they're preparing a new campus, online degree that is called International Justice or Development Justice. And we worked together with the university to prepare what a business plan would look like for, in particularly, this work. So the work that we've done that has an impact across the Caribbean is working for one of their flagship institutions, that is the University of West Indies. And I see in the public a lot of people that actually worked on these two deals, and I see a lot of smiles. You're okay? Good. So I want to finish with two concepts, and I've got 55 seconds to refer to. One is we're a conduit. We're no longer an investor. We're connecting development assets to impact investors. That connection is important because we want to be able to attract these trillions of dollars. Because if we only invest, we'll only be limited the impact of our UN sustainable goals. So take this concept of we're a partner of choice for Latin America, but more importantly, we're going to be a conduit for all our investments that are coming from abroad and within to get to I'm going to end up with a word that Ilan Golfan, our president, used this morning. That is the title of our institutional strategy. That is the transformation that the IDB group is undertaking has two objectives. Impact at scale. We want to be able to have the impact to be able to, in our lifetimes, transform the UN Sustainable Development Goals through IDB Group and into our regions. So with that, thank you very much and have a lovely full day. Thank you.